Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. Now today we are going to have a pairing video, and we're literally just starting to get around to a point now where we can actually start pairing a few bits and pieces up together. It's been a bit chaotic, but we're getting there now. So today we are going to start a run of pairing videos, and today we're going to start with the Harpactira species Golden Black. Now you'd have remembered we only recently rehoused this female in this enclosure here, and what a stunning spider. They just are such a beautiful spider. We were lucky enough to get offered a male from Charlie Grenham over at Eight-Legged Emporium, and yeah, he sent him over, and without further ado, we needed to get him into action. So let's have a look, see what goes on with the video. It's not a very long video, and we'll go through it all in a moment. Right then, I hope you enjoy, and yeah, take a look at this. Well, here we are, just about to introduce our male Harpactira species Golden Black. Now you would have known, you regular viewers would have seen the rehousing we've done of our female, and what a spectacular spider she is. There's our little male. Now he is quite a nervy little spider, which is often the case with these small males. They tend to be very, very elusive, flighty things. And I don't suppose we can really blame them, can we? Because, you know, their time on this planet is now at a minimum. And all these guys want to do now is reproduce. Now, as you can see there, we've just touched him with a paintbrush. Now, the reason we've done this, as you may well be aware, the only videos on this channel that we actually edit are these pairing videos, and I have been sat here for probably about 40 minutes waiting for this little male to do something, and he didn't. So we give him a little tickle with a paintbrush just to see if we can't move him, get him a bit closer, see if we can spur some interest out of them. So here he is, he's sat now on the top of the web, which is at the very top of the tube turret that leads down to her home, where she is residing at the bottom. Now you see there, he literally just had a little shake. Here he goes. You see that vibration? It's most important. The subtlest of vibrations we are getting from this male. He's quite a handsome little fella. Now this particular male has reproduced once already, and we obtained him from Charlie Grenham, who kindly sent him over. So we purchased him from Charlie, and hopefully he's going to do the same with our female. Notice there he's giving out little tiny shakes. There you go. Very, very subtle. You can also see them real big pedipalps. Now again, we're touching him again with the brush because he had been sat up there for probably another half an hour without any movement whatsoever. Now he's going down into that turret. Our female has not shown any signs of communication whatsoever as of yet. But he's going down there. Now we're looking from the outside now. And we can just about see the dark shape at the back. That is her, and you can just make out his legs. So he is literally gone walking down there. She's living in that sort of webbed up turret. Now you can see there, you see him very, very clearly. He is almost touching her now. She fills up 2/3 of that tube that you can see. So if you look at the leg that is pointing directly down from him, That is in actual fact the end of her abdomen, and her front feet are right at the far end of that tube going towards the right. And if we look at that dark mass, every now and again we see a slight tiny movement within that webbing, and that is her move. Look, see, he's backing off a little bit now. There you go, look. She is tapping very, very gently. This is all good signs. Now this has taken approximately an hour and a half to get to this stage. And here she comes, look, she's backing out now. These guys were very, very slow to get introduced to one another. And you can also see a little bit now of the size difference. She is in fact quite huge in comparison to him. There you go. Now look. Now he's done his little bit and now he's backing out. He's like, I don't want to stay in here. So he's making his way out. We're now just waiting for her. Here she comes. It's a little bit of a tight squeeze in there. There you go. Here she comes. You see how the light's changed? He's actually left the burrow altogether now. And he's up on top of the webbing. Now you see she's giving some very, very small taps. This is all real positive stuff. She's very, very slow and methodical. Here we go. Now that little spurt of interest from her now, look, she's quite keen now. He was up there just pouring on the webbing. You can see that lovely big abdomen on her. She is in her prime. And here she goes. Slowly but surely climbing up that turret. What we're doing now is we're just waiting. There you go. She's cleared. And both spiders are now up on top. And our male has met her full on. So as she's come up, he has already managed to make contact with her. And as you can see there, she's being very, very responsive. Now when you're trying to film these things, it's most important that we keep any vibration down to an absolute minimum. We do not want to be interrupting what these guys are saying to one another. And you can see now that the size difference is quite something else. You can just about see there. You see with his pedipalps now, look. Now what he's doing, he's not actually searching for her epigastric furrow at this point. It's almost like this is their communication. He's literally tapping away on her. And then you see how he backs off. It's what is she saying to him? This is the interesting point. You can see that colouring coming out, and this is how they get their name, the golden black. What a beautiful, beautiful spider. Lovely little baboon species. Now she's been very responsive. Here he goes. Going to try again. Now at this point now, we would not interfere at all. And what we're watching now went on for a good 30-35 minutes or so. And it's most important that we allow them to just do their own thing now. Once they've actually made contact, I don't disturb them at all. I don't interfere, with anything. I just leave them to it now. It's the actual getting them to make contact is the piece that we sometimes want to speed up a little bit. But even with that, you've got to give them a reasonable amount of time in which to do their thing. And because, like we said, the males are often very, very nervous, they're very flighty, so they're very easy to upset them. And once they lose their confidence, then, you know, a pairing is pretty much off the cards. If a male won't settle down, I will normally remove him and give him a day or two and then try him again. It's much better to, you know, err on the side of caution and save your male rather than push him and then him eventually get eaten. You know, that is not the goal. There is nothing to suggest that successful pairings are more successful if a female eats the male. This is a common old wives' tale. It really doesn't make any difference, I don't believe. Now we're just getting back into pairing our spiders again now. We've had a long lapse of probably 18 months or more where we haven't really paired anything. So we're just getting back into it now. And before we stopped to move house, we had a 97% success rate on our males. So that's 97% of them got away to mate again, or, you know, just to move on to other females. So, and it proves our females do not need to eat them to actually have a successful pairing. Utter rubbish. So always work on the theory of trying to maintain your males, and much of this can be done through good conditioning. If you condition your females, get them right, you know, pick the right times in which to try and pair them, you know, all these things can all make a difference, and they all help to securing the life of our male. Now he is still working away. You notice he's maintained contact. There you go. Look, now he's trying to speed it up a little bit. He's trying away. Often or not, it's going to be a very, very quick thing. Now you can see now he's pushing now. There you go. He's trying. He's looking for that epigastric furrow. Quite frantic pedipalps there. There you go. He's looking again. Looking again. He's almost there. Oh, there you go. He had it then. And it was as quick as that. And you notice he literally, as the second he got insertion, he was gone. There he is. He's on the other side. You just see his toes there. So what we do now is we just allow these guys now just to sit for a moment and just leave them be. We don't want them mucking around too much. And there's our female. You notice how now she is just literally sat there. She's not showing any interest in pursuing him. Everything is done. What a beautiful, beautiful spider. So in this situation, we would now, I would now just literally tickle the front legs of our female, and she will respond by going back down into her burrow. Once she's gone back down in her burrow, it's safe to pursue our male, so we can then literally get him boxed up, get him nice and safe. But it's important in a situation like we have now that we get our female to disappear back down her burrow, where she can cause him no more harm. Well, fingers crossed, we will try these again, and hopefully we can get some more footage. Well, what did you think? Now, that particular pairing video took probably around about 2 hours. He was very skittish, and we find this with a lot of small males. They can be very, very skittish, and the baboons in that generally are a little bit on the skittish side anyway, the males. Now, he sat around for a long time doing absolutely nothing. So then we took the opportunity and we tried to give him a little nudge. And you would have seen there in the video as a couple of times I actually physically move him with the paintbrush. Now this is not something that I would recommend if you're new to breeding. You know, there's much to take into account when you physically move a male in a pairing scenario. So, you know, you need to be very, very careful. The last thing you want to do is scare your male and he runs down inside the burrow of the female. She will almost certainly retaliate and kill him instantly. So we have to be very, very careful. So you need to be able to read your spider and work out what kind of mood he's in, how he's behaving and everything else before you attempt to do anything like that. Especially when he's very, very close to the tunnel. As we saw here, he was literally on top of the tunnel. So you have to take extra special care. So yeah, if you're new to breeding, I would just be patient and just let him get on with it. Let him take his time. Now, as you would have seen there, we had, in all the time that he was above ground and mucking about, we had no interaction from our female whatsoever. Nothing at all. And this was a little bit of a worry because normally a female will give a sign of something, but she weren't giving nothing away at all. So when he finally did go down the burrow, then he made contact and he literally touched her with 1 foot. And you saw her literally just, her feet just sort of doing this, right in the depth of the web. You could just about make them out. And that was the point of contact. And that was where the actual pairing really started to take shape. And you see how she backed herself out. These guys live in quite a tight tunnel. So she backed herself out and then turned round. He was like, yeah, I don't like it down here. This is a little bit too tight for me. So he done the off. And you can see where the light changed, how he cleared the entrance. So we knew, even though we were focusing on our female, we knew that he was out by the change in the light. We knew he was outside. So that was cool. We sort of left him to it. And then she finally worked her way out, came out, and he met her at the top. Now, once he had space, he was not shy at all. He came straight in and he got on the job in hand. And you saw where they were backwards and forwards. She was very, very submissive. Very easygoing female, this one. And yeah, it all went really, really well. And right up to the point where they parted at the end. And you would have seen there, if you're not used to pairing, a lot of people, we get sent clips a lot from people. And they're like, did insemination take place? And sometimes it's easy to see, sometimes it's difficult. But on this one, it was all happened so fast, you may have been mistaken for thinking that he'd panicked and run off. He hadn't. He'd managed to inseminate her, and you could see by the way her abdomen flicked forward just before he went. That was the sign that we know that he actually managed insemination. And he weren't hanging about. He was gone, she came crashing down, and that was the end of that. So we've had one successful pairing now. What we will do now is we will give them a few days. We will feed her again, give her another meal, make sure she's got water and that. Do the same for our male. Now our males don't always feed. Some males feed continuously all the way through and they don't stop. Other males go so far then they fast. Sometimes once they've been in with a female, they fast. They're not interested in food now. They're just looking for that female again. So don't worry too much. You know, just get on and do what you need to do. So we'll give them literally maybe even a week of a little bit more conditioning, a little bit more feeding, just keeping an eye on them, and then we will try them again, and we will see what happens the second time. Now, sometimes with a second pairing, it goes exactly like the first one. In other cases, the female comes out guns blazing. She is not interested in pairing at all. She just wants to kill whoever it is that's knocking at the door. So, you know, read your spiders. Very important. On the second pairing, make sure that you're ready and you can read what your female's attitude is like. If she starts tapping and that, it's normally a fair bet that she's up for it and she's going to, you know, behave herself to some extent. But that being said, it's always that point of insemination. That's where it can all go awry for the male, and it could be an end of days for him. Now, one of the things that we see a lot of, and I personally think it's utter rubbish, is this business about a female needs to kill and eat a male to be able to get a successful egg sac. This is utter rubbish. This is like one of them old wives' tales that has been kicking around the hobby for so many years now, and I think it was something like an absolutely daft bit of information that came out on like a Life on Earth film, you know, probably 35 years ago, something like that, when David Attenborough was a young man. I was but a boy then, and we had Life on Earth. It was the very first series that came out, and I believe they done a spider there, and they showed a bit of pairing footage, and they made the comment that she has to eat the male to sustain and make them eggs, and you know, and be able to be in such a good condition that she can survive looking after that egg sac without feeding. Unfortunately, that was a little bit of a misdemeanor there. That should never really have been said. I mean, it may have been back in them days. It might well have been the fact that we actually did believe that. You know, maybe it was. I don't know. But it's the wrong thing. When we were in the old place, we were breeding quite a lot then, and we had a 97% success rate with our males. So that's 97% of our males got away to live another day, pair with a different female, or get sent on to other females, you know? So it's utter rubbish that they need to kill them. They don't. They don't. You know, if you get your conditioning right and everything else, you stand a very, very good chance of your male walking out of there alive, which is what we aim to do. The males are just as important. They really are important, especially if you've got multiple females waiting for him. So it's really important that we look after them, and we do our utmost to keep that, you know, to keep him alive. That being said, if you're new to pairing your spiders, I would just concentrate on just trying to actually get a successful pairing. Yeah, don't be worrying too much about your male. Just let them do their thing, and hopefully he will get a good insemination and you'll get a successful egg sac. Once you start getting down them roads, and you start learning a little bit, and a bit by bit, you'll become more confident, and then you can start looking at ways in which you can intervene to help save your male or whatever. But at the very outset, at the very beginning, concentrate on just getting that egg sac. That's the most important thing at the beginning. You know, try and do that first, and then you can slowly work your way up. Right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. And it's been great to actually start pairing some different bits and pieces up again. We've got another couple that we've done as well. So they're going to be ready to go as well. And they will be for future videos. And yeah, hopefully we've got an awful lot more to do and a lot more to share. So it's going to be really cool. Be nice to get back onto it. All right then. Well, I hope you enjoyed that and found it useful. And don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. And I'll see you all soon, guys.